Alright, so this video is going to be kind of an installation as well as a review, my opinions on the Brid Zeta 3 Type L seat, as well as the PCI adjustable bracket for the S2000. I have the stock seat in it right now. My Brid seat is still in the FRS with the Sparko bracket in here, but I'm going to be putting this back into the S2000 because this weekend we are going to be doing autocross again as well as standing start. So I need to transfer that over to here, put the PCI mount back in, and then I'll go over some tips and tricks as far as using that mount with an aftermarket bucket seat, and then my opinion on it. Okay, so here is what you get if you order the PCI adjustable seat mount bracket for the S2000. So you have the base itself. This is the driver's side. You get the side mounts. A bit of adjustability with these, and then you get everything to mount those to it. These are just spacers that you can use if your seat is skinnier and you can't get it super tight on here, then you just use those to widen out. Every vehicle is going to be a little bit different as far as how you're going to mount these, whether you're going to mount them like this or have to mount them this way or other side, things like that. So you just kind of trial and error, just test fit everything. It took probably a couple hours just getting everything to fit exactly how I wanted it to in the S2000, because the big thing with aftermarket seats is not a lot of them actually fit, and some of them fit in the car, but then the shoulder bolsters will actually either hit the center console when you open that door, or this side will hit the door, or both. This seat is a bit wider at the top, so if you get it right in the middle, then you can still open the center and the door just barely hits it and pushes on it. If you get it so it's either door doesn't hit it, then you're not going to be able to open the center. If you get it so you can just open the center freely, then the door is going to be smashing into the side of the seat. There are seats like the Recaro pole position that are really popular with S2000s where you don't really have issues like that, but I was pretty set on getting a Brid seat. So little things that you make compromises with and everything, but the outcome that I wanted was perfect. So we will go ahead and start getting all this mounted up. Basically, this little tab here sits in that groove underneath, and that keeps this from spinning around. That way you don't have to try to sneak a wrench underneath here to hold this in place. And then on the top side of it, you'll have these little metal squares. It's basically a washer. That'll sit on there like that, and then you just tighten it down with a nut. Next day, we got a bit of rain, so that kind of held me up because the garage is destroyed right now, which I'll be cleaning up today. But now we can get back to the seat install, and I don't think it's gonna rain anymore, but look at all these pine needles. If you guys want to see some content with the truck, we'll definitely do it. Do some truck stuff. So in order to get the stock seats out, you have two 12 mils in the front, and then two 14s in the rear. Once you have those four removed, you'll actually have this clip right here, which would plug into the seat belt. But that's already removed. And now the next thing, you just pull the seat out. Definitely put the top down, makes it so much easier. And before you actually finish up putting the seat in, the new seat, remove this 14 mil for the seat belt, and then just put that out of the way because you'll need to feed that through the seat. But this is the PCI adjustable bracket. As you can see, holes all line up. Can't really tell with this one because the bracket is in the way, but all of the holes line up. Like I said before, the seat has already been in the car, so I kind of know what I need to do to get this in here, which saves some time this time around. Get the bracket in here, get your mounts on, and then get the seat. And it's a lot of trial and error putting the seat in, just getting a general idea of where it's going to sit and how you're going to need these side brackets to be mounted. And then once you get a general idea, you'll want to actually mount the seat to these and then put it in, bolt it in, see where it's at. Because once this is bolted down, it's going to be a huge pain trying to feed in an Allen on the sides here with the aftermarket seat, because the tunnel is so tight to the seat. So get a general idea of where you're going to want it, put the seat on, and then put it all in and bolt it down, and then see where you need to make adjustments from there. Then you can take the seat back out, make those small little fine-tuning adjustments, and then get it back in to where it needs to be. So I will grab the seat here. Super light, all carbon fiber. Most of the weight is in the fabric, in the padding. But we will see where it sits right now. Being 6'4", 205 pounds, 34-inch waist, I need as much room as I could possibly squeeze out of that. And this seat is about the smallest that I could possibly go before I start not fitting. It's a tight fit in this seat, but once you're in, it's actually super comfortable. And I've already had a couple track days with these seats, and it makes all the difference in the world. But yeah, I will go ahead and get this all mounted up, everything tightened down, and then get it back in the car. Okay, so right now, seat's not really bolted in or anything, but where I have the mounts in it, it's great because I'm a little bit further back. I'm reclined slightly, so it's a little more comfortable than a straight upright seating position. But when I go to heel toe, my knee will still hit the steering wheel slightly, which I don't want it to be an issue at all. So to kind of compromise for better drivability as far as on the track, as well as being comfortable daily driving and everything else like that, I'm gonna bring the front down at least to the next one down. I may go back to where I originally had it, which was third down. Actually, I had it on the fourth one down to bring it as low as possible. So maybe I'll just go to the third one down. Then I'll put the rear down one more notch. That should put me in a good median as far as tracking the car and being able to do everything that I need to do without any kind of interference, as well as some daily driver comfort. This car isn't really practical for a daily, but I love it anyways, and I wouldn't want to drive anything else besides maybe like an NSX or something like that. All right, once you have everything set up the way you want, you put the seat in, get the brackets lined up, and then you can put your 12 mils back in the front, 14s in the rear. You can leave these loose for now so you can slide the seat forward and back and side to side, however you need it to be. But these outside ones, super easily accessible, so this is why you don't necessarily need the slider, especially if you're trying to get as low as possible in the S2000. Just go with the adjustable one. You can easily access these. You just got to have a 14 mil socket, an extension, and a ratchet with you. And then the inside ones, this back one, easily accessible in between the gap here. The front one is definitely a lot tighter, but this is mostly padding right here. So when you have the seat in, you can kind of put the extension in this way and then just slide it over in line with that, and then tighten it down, loosen it up, whatever you need to do. But you can access it fairly easily. I will go ahead and get these tightened down and then wash the car, oil change, everything else, because tomorrow we are going to be doing autocross, and then on Sunday we are actually, or I will be doing standing start on the road course, which I'm super stoked about. But we'll see, because I have the same brake pads and rotors and everything else I did like a year and a half ago, so have a few track days on those, mostly just like autocross and things like that. So we'll see how the brakes hold up. But the car should do pretty well. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get this all buttoned up, and then that'll be it. So this will be pretty much just generic for any seat that you go to put in the S2000 using the PCI brackets. Build quality is awesome on them. Installation is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And the adjustability of this is really nice because it's easy to access, easy to adjust. It's just you have to make sure that you have the 14 mil in the ratchet and extension. Other than that, by far, best racket that I've seen. I know people go with the Buddy Club ones because they're the lowest that you can get. You can't really get much lower than this. The seat is, I can't even fit my hand underneath the seat. And I can technically go one notch lower in the front and rear. So if the seat bottom is touching the floor pan, I mean, you can't get any lower than that unless you actually chop the floor pan out. So definitely recommend these brackets. I'll show you my seating position in this, and this will go out to all the tall guys trying to fit in little roadsters like an S2000. So this is the Bride Zeta 3. It's not a low max seat, but you don't need one of those if you're gonna go with a bridge seat. I'll go over a few mods that you guys need if you guys are tall like me and need to sit in a little two-door roadster like this. So this is the Bridge Zeta 3 Type L. It's not a low max seat, but the seat is able to get all the way to the floor, and it gives me more than enough space, headroom, everything else, leg room, in order to fit in this car. The other thing that is like a must is get rid of the stock steering wheel. Even though it is very small, get a 330 mil steering wheel with a flat bottom, and that will clear your knees. So if you're tracking the car, or if you heel toe shift, anything else like that, you need to have it. My knee will still slightly rub the steering wheel, but not enough to send me into a ditch or corner or anything else like that. So this is where I sit in the S2000. Now, for most people, this is not practical, anything else like that, but this is so much better than it is stock. And if you're like me and you have to have one of these cars and you just don't really fit in them, you make it work around you. So with the seat in here, there's plenty of clearance. It slightly touches right here, but it's not rubbing on it or anything else like that. It's not going to damage the seat at all. And then I just have the stock stock seat belt attached to the brackets for the seat, just so I can still use it before I get an actual harness. With the aftermarket steering wheel, I actually hit my knee on this little panel right here. This knee is not going to be going over here. This knee clears. So when you go to heel toe shift and everything, you're needing to bring this knee over a little bit if you're as tall as I am. The flat bottom, my knee clears. If it's turned slightly, it rubs on it a little bit, but not enough to actually really move the steering wheel. So I can actually heel toe shift in this now. Seat height, my head is actually pretty much right in line with my roll bar. The roll hoop sits slightly lower than that, so I'm a little bit higher than the roll hoop. So with a helmet on, if you're running at a track where they require you to sit below that with a helmet, it's just not gonna happen. So if you can get away with it and just have the top up, then just do that. Otherwise, maybe find a different car to track if they're gonna be doing that, because it's gonna be really difficult unless you pretty much just get an aluminum seat or a carbon fiber seat that just, that's all it is. There's no padding, nothing, and you can take the padding off the seat and it'll bring you down a tiny little bit, but nothing that's going to make that big of a difference. But otherwise, as far as just daily driving this car with a full bucket seat, this is definitely a good route to go with the PCI bracket. You get plenty of space. I can actually, this is about what I see. So I can actually see my tack now. Before, when I would drive, it was more like this, and I'd have to dip my head just to see where the tack was, dip my head to see green lights or anything else like that. Otherwise I would just watch the lights to the side, and then once those turn red, then I know that mine is probably going to be turning green, or I would just wait until other traffic would start moving because I couldn't see them. But this makes all the difference in the world. To become a better driver with this car, which is the best modification you can do, is the driver mod. Definitely the aftermarket steering wheel, 330 mil with a flat bottom, and then an aftermarket seat that'll hold you in place a lot better than the stock seats, because they're nice, they look nice, they're not that comfortable, and they don't hold you very well, especially if you are smaller. So that is installing an aftermarket bucket seat with the PCI adjustable mount, and then a couple other pointers for taller drivers wanting to get into an S2000, wondering if you can fit or anything else. Again, I'm 6'4", 205 pounds with a 34-inch waist. I do have longer legs than a torso, which helps, other than down here. But even then, I daily drive this car. I've put about 20,000 miles on it since owning it, and I've owned it for 2 years, and I only drive it in the summertime. So 10,000 miles and about 6 months worth of being able to drive in northern Minnesota. Hope this helps some of you guys out. It is informative. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I try to answer them as soon as possible. Usually at most takes an hour or two, but we will see you at the track.